I never thought the evening my wife, Sarah, left for her conference would change everything I believed about myself. When my stepson Ethan looked me in the eyes and said, "Dad, I'm gay and I can't keep pretending anymore," the room spun and my heart pounded in a way I couldn't explain. We were sitting in the living room of our suburban Seattle home, the clock ticking past 10 as rain pattered against the windows. Sarah had hugged us both goodbye earlier, her suitcase rolling out the door toward the airport shuttle, leaving just the two of us for the next 5 days. Ethan had been quiet all evening, picking at his pasta during dinner, but I chalked it up to work stress at his graphic design job. Now, at 25, he still lived with us while saving for his own place. And I had always seen him as the easygoing kid who played video games and joked about bad dates with girls. But those words hung in the air like smoke, thick and impossible to ignore. I set my coffee mug down slowly, my hand suddenly unsteady. "Ethan, what do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He ran a hand through his dark hair, his athletic frame hunched forward on the couch, eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I've known for years, Dad. Since high school. The bullying, the hiding, the fake smiles every time someone asked if I had a girlfriend. I tried to push it down, date girls, even got engaged once just to prove something to myself. But it was all a lie." His voice cracked, and in that moment, something inside me shifted. I had raised him since he was 13, after Sarah and I married, treating him like my own. We fished on weekends, fixed cars together, talked about life. Yet here he was, baring his soul, and all I could do was listen as the night stretched on. We moved to the kitchen for more coffee around midnight, the fluorescent light harsh on his tired face. Ethan poured out stories I had never imagined. The secret apps he deleted before anyone saw, the fear of losing us if the truth came out, the recent breakup with a guy named Tyler who accused him of not being out enough and walked away. "I stayed home tonight because I couldn't face being alone with this anymore," he admitted, staring into his mug. I nodded, my mind racing back to my own college days in Oregon, a roommate named Chris whose laugh made my chest tight in ways I dismissed as admiration. We had shared late nights studying, and once, after too many beers, a hug that lingered too long. I buried those memories when I met Sarah, built the perfect life, the promotion at the marketing firm, the house with the white fence. But Ethan's confession cracked the foundation. By 2 a.m, we were still talking, the rain now a steady drum. I told him it was okay, that Sarah and I loved him no matter what, but inside, questions swirled. Why did his words feel like they were speaking to a hidden part of me? We finally crashed in the living room, him on the couch, me in the recliner, but sleep evaded me. The next hours blurred into quiet reflections, his breathing steady while my thoughts churned. When dawn crept through the blinds, I knew nothing would ever be the same. Ethan stirred, offering a weak smile. "Thanks for not freaking out, Dad." I forced one back, but the weight of my own awakening pressed heavier than the night before. The following morning brought weak sunlight filtering into the kitchen as Ethan and I made breakfast in silence at first. Pancakes sizzled on the griddle, the scent of coffee filling the air, but the confession from last night lingered like an unspoken guest. He flipped a pancake, his movements deliberate, and glanced my way. "I didn't plan to dump all that on you, but with Mom gone, it felt like the right time." I nodded, cracking eggs into a bowl, my mind still reeling from the fragments of my past that had resurfaced. We ate at the island counter, and he opened up more about Tyler, the guy who had promised understanding but bailed when Ethan hesitated to post their photos online. He said I was ashamed, that I was living a double life. Ethan explained, pushing his food around. Maybe he was right. Society doesn't make it easy. I listened, offering what advice I could from years of navigating corporate pressures myself. "People judge what they don't understand," I said, surprising myself with how personal it felt. Later that afternoon, we took a walk in the nearby park, leaves crunching under our shoes in the crisp fall air. Ethan showed me texts from Tyler on his phone, the accusations, and the final breakup message that had left him questioning everything. A misunderstanding had escalated when Tyler's friends spread rumors at Ethan's old college circle, making him withdraw even more. I felt protective, angry on his behalf, but also unsettled because his pain mirrored doubts I had long ignored. Back home, I found myself searching online for LGBT resources, not just for him, but for the questions bubbling inside me. By evening, we ordered pizza and watched an old baseball game, but conversation turned deeper. Ethan asked about my own youth, and I shared cautiously about Chris, framing it as friendship. He smiled knowingly. "Dad, it's okay if there's more to it." His words hit like a quiet thunderclap. That night, as he headed to bed, I sat alone in the study, staring at old photos. The next day blurred into errands and calls, but the bond between us strengthened. When Ethan's ex texted again out of the blue, demanding a meeting to clear the air, I drove him there, waiting in the car while they talked in a coffee shop. The ex apologized for the betrayal, admitting prejudice from his own family had fueled the fight. Ethan emerged relieved, and on the drive home, he thanked me. "You're handling this better than I expected." Little did he know, his confession was forcing me to handle my own truth, piece by painful piece, as the weeks stretched ahead with Sarah still away. Midweek arrived with a gray Seattle sky, and Ethan suggested we attend a local support group meeting he had found online. "It's low-key, just talking. No pressure," he said over lunch at our favorite diner. I hesitated, citing work emails, but curiosity won. We drove downtown to a community center, the room filled with about 15 men of various ages sharing stories under soft lighting. Ethan spoke first, his voice steady about the confession and the relief of telling me. Heads nodded in understanding. Then, a man named Ryan caught my attention. 38, with kind eyes and a calm presence. He was a high school teacher who had lost his partner years ago to illness. His story of quiet acceptance after years of hiding resonated deeply. After the meeting, we grabbed coffee at a nearby cafe, the four of us chatting easily. Ryan and I exchanged numbers, promising to connect again. Back home, Ethan teased lightly. "Ryan seems cool, huh?" I brushed it off, but that evening, Ryan texted asking how I was processing everything. Our messages flowed naturally into deeper territory, him sharing his own journey of loss and rediscovery. I found myself opening up about the marriage that felt safe but incomplete, the attractions I had labeled as phases. The misunderstanding with Ethan's ex lingered in calls, but Ryan offered perspective without judgment. The next day at work, a colleague noticed my distraction during a meeting, joking about family drama. I deflected, but the pressure built as whispers about my changed demeanor spread. That night, Ryan and I met for a walk along the waterfront, the city lights reflecting on the water. His calm voice helped me voice fears of disappointing Sarah and losing the life we built. Ethan waited up when I returned, proud of my steps. The emotional weight lifted slightly, but new questions about what this meant for my future loomed larger, pulling me toward decisions I never imagined facing. Thursday brought unexpected warmth, and Ryan invited me to a small community event at a local gallery featuring LGBT artists. Ethan encouraged me to go, staying home to handle some freelance deadlines. The gallery buzzed with quiet conversations, paintings evoking themes of hidden identities and bold awakenings. Ryan guided me through the exhibits, his explanations thoughtful and patient. We lingered over a piece depicting two men in quiet conversation, and he shared how art had helped him after his loss. Our talk turned personal again, revealing shared experiences of societal expectations pushing us into molds that didn't fit. I confessed the growing realization that my feelings for Sarah had been companionship, not the deep connection I now glimpsed in these new interactions. No pressure, just honest exchange that left me feeling seen for the first time. On the drive home, my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan about another call from his ex, who had spread old rumors to mutual friends, causing a minor misunderstanding at Ethan's workplace. We resolved it together over dinner, strengthening our father-son bond through the crisis. Later, Ryan and I texted late into the night, planning another casual meetup. The internal conflict raged. Guilt over Sarah's return in 2 days mixed with the excitement of this new emotional connection. Work the next day brought subtle tension when a coworker asked pointed questions about my sudden interest in community events, hinting at gossip starting to brew. I confronted the unease head-on in my mind, weighing the cost of silence. Ethan noticed my distraction that evening and offered support, reminding me that growth often meant facing uncomfortable truths. As Friday dawned, the pieces of my old life and the emerging one clashed more forcefully, setting the stage for the confrontation I knew was coming. Sarah's flight landed early Friday evening, her suitcase thumping in the entryway as she embraced us both. "Miss you guys so much," she said, but her eyes lingered on my tired face. Dinner was tense from the start, Ethan excusing himself after a short update on work. Alone with her, the words tumbled out haltingly. I explained Ethan's confession first, framing it as family support, but when she pressed about my own changes, the truth spilled. "Sarah, I've been questioning things about myself too. Long before this." Her face paled, questions turning to accusations of betrayal. "All these years, and now this." The misunderstanding escalated when my colleague called under the guise of work, accidentally revealing he had seen me at the support group, and mentioned it casually to office chat. Sarah overheard, her voice rising in hurt and confusion. Ethan returned to the room during the argument, defending me while grappling with his own guilt for sparking the chain. The betrayal from the colleague stung deeper the next morning when an email hinted a delayed promotion due to personal distractions. Family calls followed, relatives questioning the sudden shifts, prejudice seeping into well-meaning advice. Ryan texted support, his words a lifeline amid the chaos. I spent the night pacing the guest room, weighing sacrifices, the marriage built on stability versus the authenticity demanding I let go. Sarah and I talked through tears until dawn, her pain real, but her eventual understanding a small mercy. Ethan stood by us both, his presence a bridge. The psychological toll mounted, but clarity emerged in the decisions ahead, forcing me to confront the consequences of years of denial. The final days unfolded in quiet resolution as I packed a few bags, the house echoing with final conversations. Sarah and I agreed on separation with respect, the divorce papers signed weeks later amid shared tears for the life we had shared. Ethan moved into his own apartment soon after, our bond unbreakable through the upheaval. Work offered a lateral transfer instead of promotion, the societal judgment fading into background noise as I focused on what mattered. Ryan and I met more often, our connection growing into a steady, understanding partnership built on late-night talks and mutual support, never rushed or defined by anything but genuine emotion. We attended events together, Ethan joining occasionally, the three of us forming an unlikely but strong circle. Family gatherings brought awkward moments at first, but time softened edges, with some relatives accepting the change while others distanced themselves. The internal crisis that began that rainy night had evolved into peaceful acceptance, my choices carrying real costs yet delivering profound freedom. Ethan thrived in his career, openly dating with confidence, crediting our talks for his courage. Looking back from my new apartment overlooking the city, I saw the journey not as destruction but rebirth. The misunderstandings, betrayals, and sacrifices had forged stronger versions of ourselves. True or false? Embracing your true self is always worth losing the family you built?